Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson right here on Grander Radio. We thank you for joining us today, and we got a great show lined up for you, right?
In the place to be. Once again, we're happy to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got an interview with James Eternal. And, we know you're going to enjoy it, but before we dip into that, we definitely got to get to some beats. And, just in case you didn't know, I'm a chick with beats, which means that I'm a chick with beats. The instrumentals that you hear played throughout the show are produced by me, and you can always find them on Achickwitbeatz.com. we have James Eternal in the virtual building with us today. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Excited to have you on the show. And, we want you to just kind of, good. Yeah, we want you to just kind of give the listeners a bit of background on you, like who is James Eternal, where do you come from, and what drives what you do?
Okay, so just a little, I guess, the Cliff Notes version. I grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Been doing music since, I'd say I pretty much I started doing music back I've been doing music for about 30 years now. It's like 30 plus years. Back in the day, we released I was a part of a couple groups. One was Prisoners of Society. One was Urban Nights. We released projects, independent projects. We traveled extensively around the Midwest. I've linked with I've had the pleasure to link with and work with a lot of people from not only locally, because there's great talent locally, but just nationwide. And then, so what I'm currently up to now, I decided to take all the kind of sweat and hard work and knowledge that I've gained from being an artist and flip that into being a manager now. Well, I started a management company back in this past February. So I've signed a few acts in the interim. We made some moves here. We're still making moves here on a national level. So what I really let's kind of give you an idea of who I am. But there's a lot obviously that I left out. But that's kind of where I am. That's kind of the linear timeline for me, from artist to now I'm in managing artists and also hoping to educate them along the way as well. Okay, you mentioned education, and that's something that we believe is crucial here on Music Marvels. So could you give us a little bit of tidbits, maybe, if you will, for the listeners? What are some of the most important things that you think artists need to know to succeed in today's musical climate? Sure. Yeah. So I think artists really need to understand how you make money in the business. And I think a lot of artists have this attitude. Well, there's two artists I've run across. There's the attitude where artists are do for self, and they do everything from managing themselves to publishing their own music to licensing their own music to copywriting to writing and producing it. And then there's another school of thought where artists are where they make great music, they have the total package, but they are not too tuned in on the business side of it. And I find a lot of artists leave the business side to their management or the record label, whomever they're working with. And I find that to be a naive approach to the business. So I really feel like before artists get into the business and before the producing music, perfecting your craft, that's all great. But knowing how to make dividends off your money, how to earn residual income, and how to improve and grow your brand is something that we're not taught naturally unless you've gone to school for that. So I feel like a lot of artists are lacking in that, and they kind of recycle. They use strategies that are not beneficial to their growth. So I think the main thing artists need to know is how to grow their brand and how to make money in the music business. That's the thing that's lacking, I think. You hear those gems he dropped, Breezy?
Oh, yeah. Golden nuggets, man. The golden nuggets. See, we need more of that and less of the other stuff. I mean, way more of this and way less of the other stuff. And, our young folks and older ones as well, they have to be coached. They have to be coached up in a certain direction, in a certain realm. And because, even the greats, when you talk about the Michael Jordans or the Kobe's or, LeBron's or Tiger Woods and all these folks, in different industries, Oprah's and so on and so forth, Tyler Perry's. See, they didn't just come and do it without having a coach. Okay? Exactly. So the role you're filling is absolutely vital to their success. I think my motivation, my driving motivation was to, I think when you come up as an artist like I did, and I didn't really have that
that mentor figure I can go to for answers. It was tight. It was one of those things where I grabbed some knowledge here, I grabbed tidbits of knowledge here and there. I read a lot, studied it a lot, but it was only after feeling like I was taken advantage of as an artist, like many times over, before I was able to kind of see, okay, let me kind of research what I'm doing here. I mean, it's not all fun and games. I mean, after a certain point, you want to be able to see some profits from your hard work and your labor. So I think as younger artists, like as you were mentioning, as younger artists, they kind of get caught up in the glitz and glamour of this business, and it really is not that glamorous when you look at it, because the fame is one thing, it's totally detached. Your fame doesn't necessarily equate financial stability in the business, you know? So, and that's where I felt like I came in as a bridge for these artists to say, okay, I'm also, not only do I promote, but I also want to teach you how to be your own boss and how to be independent. And also, if you're not even with me, my motivation is you may not be under my wing. And so I want to teach entrepreneurs to be able to learn the business so they can go out on their own adventures. So that's my goal.
Now, let me make a statement. Now, see, you and I know that financial stability is just extremely important. So now, what are some of the obstacles that you encounter in, okay, let's say if one of the musicians or artists, whatever, has come from a life of financial instability. Okay, so share with our listeners how you guide them, or what are some of your nuggets in the way that you guide them to flip that script from being in a realm of financial instability to being aware of what financial stability is on the good side.
Right. So what I usually do with an artist is I'll sit them down before I even work with them. I'll sit them down just to try to pick their brain. What are you looking to achieve, or what are your goals? And so I ask them to, whether it be goals to 6 months from now, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing? So financially, the same thing applies. They use the same blueprint. That extra income that you may feel like, okay, a lot of people that are, for instance, the artists that I was speaking with not too long ago, and they wanted to be able to, their goal was to save up to release their own project. Well, so again, using that same framework is, okay, you want to be able to put away a little bit, every week, and also you need to be able to see your goals. And for me, it's very important when I talk to artists, they need to be able to write their goals down and see themselves achieving those. So, and like I said, that applies not only to their music goals, but their financial goals. So if you're able to save a little bit, say, okay, this is the goal. We need to save $500. How much time are we giving ourselves to do that, to be able to release this project? Okay, and then every week we go through that person's budget and say, okay, can you squeeze a little money here? Can you save $20 here? Can you not buy this item and save over here? So, it is something, it's a total mindset. It's a change. It's a lifestyle, as a matter of fact, to be able to discipline yourself to where you didn't feel like you had this disposable income to be able to save towards your goal. And now you see, okay, now I can sacrifice a little bit for my ultimate goal in the long run. And basically, it takes a lot of discipline. Like I said, it's a total lifestyle change. So when talking with this artist in particular that I'm speaking about, he was able to kind of flip things where he was able to, start seeing the impact of $5, $10 every week. And he's to the point now where, he's about to be able to, get some CDs and do some other things here musically and financially with his music. And I just, my thing is I always steer guys, even if you don't come aboard with me, I always steer guys, do your own thing, be your own boss, and control your own destiny. Because in this business, that's one thing that you really, we always, I won't say always, but a lot of times we tend to want other people to do the heavy lifting for us. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always encourage people, hey, do that heavy lifting now, so in the future you can own, you know, you can own your legacy. So I'm all about creating legacy. And I think, like I said, financially with artists, that's really the thing. It's just a change of mindset, you know. So that's how I encourage artists who are not already, as you mentioned, financially stable, to just adopt a new mindset and adopt a new lifestyle when it comes to just saving little here and there, you know. Because we don't, there's this thing where we want instant gratitude, and there's no instant gratitude in the world for anything that's worthwhile. So I try to also express that as well.
Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead right here now and go ahead and give you permission to add that little phrase that I came up with into your printed matter. And then just help, hey, we help change your realm from financial instability to financial stability.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's my changing your mindset.
Yeah. And so that's good that you mentioned that you still direct people that way, even if they don't sign with you. And that's a mindset that you don't see. I was going to say you don't see often, but you just flat out don't see it. So, yeah, that's brilliant. I'm glad that you're doing that. And, you know, so, yeah, since you had mentioned that you signed artists, what are some of the traits that you look for in artists to work with personally to help develop them into having the career that they want?
One of my mottos is hard work overcomes talent. Mm-hmm. And so I really believe that. I've seen like less talented people. This is just in any realm of life. I've seen less talented people outwork people with more God-given talent and get further in life or get further in their careers. Because when I found that a lot of artists, I know a lot of talented artists, like a lot of artists who are great, and I feel like sometimes though that artist that's less talented has to work harder, and that sets them apart. So I look for the first thing I look for is hard work. Is this person working hard to achieve their goal? Because I feel like I really like working with artists who already have something going for themselves. Now, not an artist who's super talented and kind of used to getting that pat on the back. They're used to getting that acknowledgement. So sometimes they get to the point where they're more kind of satisfied. They're kind of more they rest on their laurels, and they're not as motivated as this person that had to develop their craft and didn't come to them naturally. I found that person is more hungry, and that person is also more. That person is also able to take instruction as well. So I look for not only somebody that works hard, but also one who's willing to take instructions or be open to new ideas, because that's my role as a manager. If someone comes into my fold, my job is to consult with them, to say, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? I know a different way. And for us to, for me to be able to help steer them in a different direction, because why else would they hire me if they weren't looking for that instruction and that guidance?
Right.
But hard work, I think, is the number one thing I look for, because there's a lot of talent out there, but a lot of people aren't growing. They're satisfied with that because they've been acknowledged for that. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm already great, and I feel like we're always improving. I'm improving every day. So I want people I work with, I want them to be improving as well.
Yeah, that's heavy. That should be underlined right there, right, Breezy?
Yeah, because right from the start, or even before right from the start, your name. Okay, and what I'm referring to is there's a phrase out there that refers to an eternal flame. Okay, and so that name eternal, that means it's working 24/7, night and day, weekends is working. So that means that the vibe is working night and day, the weekends, the holidays, and so on and so forth. And so to me, that's a very strong, meaningful word, and I don't take that lightly. You know, when I came with, James Eternal, I'm like, oh, this isn't lightweight. You know, he's heavy with a name like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's funny you say that because when I picked that name, I had so many names prior to that, but I settled on it because I really wanted. A lot of artists are like, oh, I want my music to last eternally. I wanted a legacy to last eternally. So, my legacy is important to me. I'm not worried about being the most popular or selling the most this or that or being the most, glamorous or whatever. I just want a legacy. And that's why I started a company. I wanted my legacy. Now, whether that be musically or my legacy of helping people grow and achieve, getting closer to their dreams, that's pretty much what I want my legacy to be. And so, again, that's why I have the philosophy I do about my company. But it's interesting that you brought it out because, it wasn't about, my name living eternally. It's more so the legacy that I want to leave. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of thing that you're on the way to a location, but see that verbiage, it arrives at the location before you do. You see, you're eternal. See, it's coming around the corner and entering into the building before you actually physically walk in there, because you're eternal. See, this isn't just something to just look up and just to take lightly. This is heavy stuff. Okay, and so it's coming from you, and see that's reflective of you. So see, your vibe enters the building before you actually walk in the door.
Wow, that's very heavy. I never thought of it like that. That's so true too. I mean, they say name says a lot, but that's very heavy. I believe in vibe and energy as well. So
powerful stuff.
I appreciate that. Bravo to you for that. That was great.
Well, hey, I give you permission to use that too now. Okay, so
I will. I'm jotting it down right now. I will use that. That will reappear.
Yes, sir.
That's a jewel, though. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But see, when there are settings like this, when people can come together and just conversate, and just swap ideas, to listen to each other, and we've all been in different crowds where the person that you're talking to, they're not really listening. They're just already waiting to say something back to you. Concerning what you just said. I mean, what you just said didn't even sink in because they're talking too much.
Right.
Okay. And so, but see, in a setting like this, and see, our listeners, I know they're soaking you up. They're soaking you up because you're bringing some deep, meaningful topics, and they're soaking you up.
I appreciate that. And like I said, I just appreciate the opportunity because I feel like there needs to be more platforms like you guys. There just needs to be more platforms because I feel like you guys have the right motivation behind what you do, and so I think you guys will continue to prosper because of that. It's all about your intentions and motivation. So I really appreciate the opportunity to give it today, though.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So before we actually wind down, you had mentioned earlier about being an artist yourself and being a part of several groups and how those experiences help build what you've built your management career on. And so I'd like to ask, before we head out, what's the most valuable thing that you learned as an artist, whether it be, a good or bad experience? What's the most valuable thing that you've learned from that you use to this day to help educate other people?
The most valuable thing, I'd say, the most valuable thing that I've learned is to be in control of your own destiny. And that's basically taking your career, being proactive about your career and not being reactive. And when I was reactive, I was just spinning my wheels. I had a lot of, there was a lot of people would give the accolades and praises, but I was just pretty much spinning my wheels because I wasn't proactive in taking control of. I was leaving my career to outside forces, and I feel like young artists especially, it's never too late, but young artists especially, when you get in this game, you have to just be proactive. I think we have some great examples now. Everybody's kind of building their own, everybody's brand bonded, everybody's building their, everybody's more so like, let me do this independently. But when I got in the game, it wasn't like that. We depended on record labels and companies and other people to push our music and push our brand. Well, now, and when you leave when you're not proactive and you leave your career to someone else, they can paint any kind of picture of you that they want. They can paint any type of picture that they want. But when you're in control of your branding and control of, you have a certain level of control of your career, you can steer your course, or you can avoid danger and detour when need be. So I feel like that's the most important thing I learned, is to be proactive when it came to my career. And so real quick though, before we go, I wanted to also mention a few acts on my label, because I know they're probably listening. And I have we have a great roster. Eternal Might is one of the groups which I'm a part of with Dynamite, with Dynamite, and then also I got a group, Royalty of the North, that I just signed. Trey Bands is a solo artist as well that I manage, and so we got a lot of exciting things coming up. COVID has slowed things down a little bit, but we create opportunities doing shows, and we out here. So, I really appreciate. I feel like I've been blessed, and again, I've used this time to kind of build and not feel sorry for myself, or not a vacation. I've been using this COVID time to build, build with great people. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I may, and I know time is of the essence, but I'm going to bring out what I call the room stretcher. Okay, I'm going to stretch this room open just a little bit further because of the depth of your conversation. Now, Achickwitbeatz and I, we've been bouncing questions off of you back and forth, for this duration. Mm-hmm. But now, there's probably something in your mind that you either experience on a daily basis or a weekly or monthly basis, or even just throughout the industry, that you want to share with our listeners that we haven't asked. Okay, and to say, hey, if I ever get a chance to say this or that, whatever, about, the forecast, or, how, what the greatness of this actually really is, or is. So share with our listeners one time something that we have not asked you that you feel is just a need, that you want to drop a gold nugget to help someone out there.
Okay. That's great. That's a great question. You guys set up the question great. I will say this. For every, and this is just not for artists, but for every person out there that's listening or will hear this podcast, be your authentic self. I feel like so many people are afraid of being their authentic self and not being accepted, but especially in this business, you have people who, any given day of the week, you can turn on the radio and hear 5-6 different artists sounding the same, and I kind of feel like I just, to me, as a person that just loves music, I mean, I eat, sleep, and drink music every day. I just feel like if people were just them authentic selves, people would kind of stand out. You would stand out more instead of going along with the crowd. Just be a leader. Mm-hmm. And I stress that to not only artists, I stress that to kids, I stress that, I have 2 adult kids, I stress that to them. Just be a leader. Do not follow the crowd. Be a leader, and you stand out in your own way, because there's only one you. And just be your authentic self every day. And I feel like you get further along in life by being your authentic self rather than following other people down the path. And I was always, coming up, I was always taught that. And so I never felt like I fit into a particular crowd or particular group or genre or whatever, because I like to try some of everything with this music. But I just felt like I've always been my authentic self, and at the end of the day, I can lay my head on the pillow and say, look, I've never tried to be anything that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would never try to be a gangster. I never tried to sell, drugs. I never tried to do any of that with my music, and I never tried to portray myself that way because that was never me. I was always me. And I can say that I coming in, I wanted to sink or swim being my authentic self. So if I had to give anybody any type of encouragement or any type of message, is be your authentic self, no matter what you're doing, whether it be in the corporate world or this music thing that we're doing, or just in life in general. Just be your authentic self and let people, judge you off of that. Judge you off of your character, and not a portrayal that you're trying to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great takeaway. And so, I need the listeners right now, I'm talking to you guys, make sure that you follow James Eternal, keep up with everything that he's got coming, because, one, we already know we got to have you back. So, we got to do this again.
I'll definitely be back. You guys have me. I definitely will be. Definitely.
All right. So will you let the listeners know where they can follow you and keep up with what you got going on?
Yes. You can follow me. I'm on IG at James Eternal. But also follow my new label at Charles and Trimble Music Group. We're everywhere. IG, any outlet. IG, we're on YouTube on the Charles and Trimble Music Group. Facebook, Twitter. Twitter is James Eternal, but Charles and Trimble Music Group. That's the company right there, my management company. We have some great artists that's releasing some great music. We have music videos coming. We're doing shows. We're just right now, it's a full rollout. So I appreciate people, just tuning in. Charles and Trimble Music Group, and we got some exciting things coming up. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
We really
appreciate you guys.
We can't wait to do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
You've elevated up. Okay.
Yeah.
And so. See, we got the happy face on because you definitely elevated up. And,
I appreciate it. Likewise, brother. I appreciate that. I really feel like, you guys have, like I said, you guys have a great thing going here, and I feel right at home. So I appreciate you guys having me. I look forward to coming back.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, positively. Ladies and gents, you've heard the elliptical vision of James Eternal right here on Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson right here on Grander Radio.
What an incredible interview with James Eternal. I mean, he just came through with the knowledge and the insight, and it's just a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, and as we alluded to, that word, that title, Eternal. Oh, man. We got an up-close view of what that really means coming from him.
Yes, we did. And, so we always make sure that we dip into what's going on in the industry and, discuss important topics that might be valuable information as you try to build your music career up to what you want it to be. And one of the more recent developments was that a judge ruled in favor of Nicki Minaj during the Tracy Chapman dispute. So basically what went down is she made a song called Sorry, and she thought that she was actually sampling from another artist. But then on the path to get clearance to be able to release this song, she learned that the artist had actually borrowed elements from Tracy Chapman's song that was on her debut album. And so Minaj then went to her to get approval, and she didn't get the clearance. So at that point, she decided not to release it on the Queen album that it was intended to be on. And so the problem with that was another DJ had got a copy of it in New York and then released the track. And so Chapman figured that she had just done it on purpose to put it out, and so that's why she was suing. So, it's unfortunate that Tracy Chapman has a version of her song out there that she didn't want. So I can understand the instinct to try to sue, but for creatives, a lot of us that play around with samples and, that would just be a terrible thing if you could be punished for someone else getting a hold of your song and putting it out there.
Yeah, that's the deck of the cards. That's the card that got drawn this time. And so, we just have to lament about it, but we got to keep moving.
Right. So, the case is still ongoing. It'll probably actually go to trial. But for now, at least for a judge to cite that Nicki Minaj should be covered under the fair use rule, that's kind of a win for most of us creatives, depending on which side of the coin you're looking at. You know, it's a tough thing, but
it really is.
Yeah. So we'll be back with more industry news and information right after this. And we're back. You know, you keep hearing about how hard the industry's been impacted during the pandemic. And, you know, it's still true, but there are some silver linings and some good news going on around the world. For instance, Italy's recorded music industry grew. And so they racked in for the first half of the year around $102 million. And so it's nice to know that artists are still making money. There are people that are still listening to music and helping the industry stay stable at this point for, well, as much as it can, since live shows have kind of taken a big chunk out of artist revenue. But yeah, it's a good thing to hear that there's still room for growth, and yeah, we got to keep doing our part, make sure we keep streaming the music that we love.
Man, you know, that's a beautiful thing. So, you know, just a little while ago when I was talking about keep moving no matter what, despite all odds, just keep doing your thing. Keep pushing.
Right. What a powerful message. All right, we're going to get back to some more beats before we get ready to head out for the night. right, and that does it for us tonight on Music Marvels with Achickwitbeatz and Breezy Gipson. We thank you so much for joining us, and, just can't wait to do it again next week, right?
Oh, no, man, it's a groove. It's real groove. It's nothing but a groove. So I can't wait to come back to you.
All right, well, you know what to do. Make sure that you come back. Tell a friend, bring a friend, whatever you want to do, but we'll see you in the same place, same time. Peace.